All right, for this session, we're going to talk about how modern technologies are being used to streamline the fan and guest experience, which ultimately will also increase revenue and per cap. So a lot of discussions going on over the last couple of years, honestly, since COVID kicked in. So we're going to talk a little bit about how the technologies have been evolving, and more importantly, how you can adapt some of those technologies to your venue. This is Wayne Scarcella speaking. I head up all sports and entertainment with Spot On Enterprise, and with me is Andrew Spencer, who is our VP of Customer Experience. So Andrew and I are going to kind of ping pong some slides as we're going through the session today. So let's start with kind of the easy thing that I think has been happening over the last 4 or 5 years, and honestly, even before COVID kicked in. More and more venues going to cashless, and there are a lot of benefits to that, which we're going to highlight. But with the introduction of QR codes and the variety of ways in which you can introduce mobile now, it's really interesting to watch, because what's happening is many people have been using QR codes for viewing menus during during COVID, and how many restaurants have made that a requirement. A lot of fans now expect that when they come to venues. They're also more acceptable to using mobile, where in the past you may have only seen low single-digit utilization, and now you're seeing 30–40% utilization for mobile platforms. So that's the one thing that we've noticed. In addition to going cashless, you're seeing an acceptance for a variety of ways in which you can allow guests and fans to order.
Yeah, and that adoption of mobile and other ways to pay is really being seen across the board. So some of the stats that we have here, almost all of the NFL stadiums went cashless in 2021 for obvious reasons. And, the consumer adoption is just accelerating. And certainly, COVID, moved the adoption of some of those technologies to the forefront. And we're seeing more consumers want to pay in those ways. And so here, 77% of guests prefer those contactless payments, and that's certainly accelerated since COVID. And in fact, a fair number, almost 30%, have not used cash to make in-venue purchases since the restart of the season coming out of the COVID era. So
let's take a pivot here and go and look at the actual product offering or the ecosystem. So when you're looking at, the venue of the future, let's say, you have to look at solutions that are going to provide you the ability to flex, as well as offer your fan base a variety of ways in which they can choose to order from. So if somebody would prefer to more or less traditionally order, they can walk up to a cashier. That cashier now may have the ability to pivot between food and beverage and retail. The ability to have a point of sale flip to being a self-service device is a very common request these days, and then have, of course, dedicated kiosks set up with designated areas for pickup and delivery as an option. And then last, of course, is mobile, which we'll definitely spend some time on that in a variety of different ways, and of course how each of these fulfillment options are delivered, whether it be KDS, text messaging, order status board. Ultimately, everything leading to an improved customer experience, shorter lines, ultimately getting also increased revenue and order size. So looking at the platforms that are available, when you're evaluating the solution, you want to make sure that you pick a solution that's going to give you options off the shelf. So you want to have as many native options as possible. So the point of sale obviously is a given, but making sure that the back office support, fulfillment, as well as the integration capabilities with different loyalty platforms, and then from an interact or a mobile perspective, having the ability to use either self-checkout, self-service, grab and go, and mobile solutions. So if we kind of step back a little bit and look at the various ways in which you can move to a cashless environment, you have up in the top left corner, self-service and point of sale and an EMV device that will enable NFC. So that's your Apple Pay. Different display options that can be used for the guests, so they can actually enter in the gratuities, signature capture, so on and so forth. Moving down, you're going to see a variety of ways in which mobile could be accepted. It could be a true native app, or like a team app, a district app. It could be a web delivered solution. And it can also introduce, most recently, third-party ordering solutions like Uber Eats. All three of those can actually be deployed at one particular venue, everything feeding into the kitchen display system, text notifications, which are important, letting the guests know that one, the order has been received, and two, if it's ready for pickup and where to pick that order up. And then there's other options to have, like the introduction of an order status board and pickup lockers and so on and so forth.
And so we'll take a look at some of the customers who have deployed many of these systems in 2021. So Metlife successfully deployed over 1,200 POS devices, including terminals at bars, handheld devices throughout the building, self-order kiosks and the like. And as the second largest NFL stadium, was really successful in using these systems across their building to serve the needs of fans for 2 football teams, as well as a number of special events like concerts and other types of special events that might be in the building. And in terms of uptick in sales, the going fully cashless in 2021, they've seen a huge increase in the number of in the amount of check average, and also an increase in the amount of tips that are being given to their associates, which has an ancillary effect with the employee around employee retention and employee satisfaction. So that's a great thing to see.
So I pulled up another success story here at Globe Life Field. The Texas Rangers have actually opened up some options for their guests to order both from self-service. They have well over 50 kiosks deployed. They actually use their old stadium as almost like an incubator, a test bed, to make sure that their fan base was ready for that style of ordering. They've also offered a mobile app solution that interfaces with Apex lockers. This is where you're going to get your hot lockers and cold lockers for pickup. This just allows, again, fans to pick and choose whether or not they want to walk up to a cashier or place their order on their own, either from a self-service device or a mobile offering.
And really, the implementation of this technology is there to provide convenience and a frictionless commerce style to fans who come into the buildings. And so Busch Stadium, again, going fully cashless, has added a couple other instances, adding contactless payments and mobile ordering software in 2021, and also introducing a virtual hawking service for in-seat delivery, which is unique. And we're seeing in some of our customers a full $50 increase in per cap in locations where they're using this virtual hawking style of service. And so again, really just trying to ease the commerce and create a frictionless event for the fans and guests in their building.
And then NRG Stadium, again, has a pretty sizable footprint. They started with just 12 as a point of proof of concept, but immediately noticed that the 55% increase in sales, as well as the per cap, was immediately recognized. So they've increased their footprint to well over 30 self-service devices now. So this is all done through, the automated upsell options that come along with self-service. So if you were, add a burger to your cart, it's going to automatically prompt you to add bacon to that burger, or double cheese, and so on and so forth. And then last is just a different way to look at self-service. This is almost like your self-checkout, grocery style self-checkout. So different ways in which you can deploy kiosks. One would be, walk up and order, obviously getting a text notification and directions on where to pick up the product that's been assembled, or two, walk the lane and pick up some items and self-checkout on your own. Sometimes you might have a scale attached to the device as well. And this also introduces, a variety of different ways, and you can still support nonprofit organizations, round up for charity and things of that nature. And then when you flip to mobile, considering the variety of ways that are available. So you can have a full web-based delivered mobile. You can have chatbot ordering for text of beer as an example, native apps, district apps, so on and so forth. Our product actually interfaces with all the variations that are available to you. You just have to know that when you're designing your mobile experience, you really do have to look at the venue from end to end, whether it be the actual stand itself, the product that's being sold there, the traffic patterns around the stand, and most importantly, the kitchen itself has to be able to sustain the amount of orders that could potentially come from a mobile app. The QR code method is honestly very easy and lightweight to deploy. You can turn it on, you can turn it off, you can move it around. There's a lot that can be controlled from that QR code. It can be down to the seat level for in-seat ordering, It could be tabletop ordering for picnic tables or outdoor seating. It can actually be a virtual POS or kiosk. And what I did here is just a couple of examples how easy this product is to deploy. When COVID was coming to an end for the entertainment business, at least to allow some sort of concerts, Live Nation kicked off a tour. I think they ended up with about 6 of these events where it was just parking lot concerts. So you can get a sense here that you park your car, there was a designated area, and in that designated area was a QR code that you can order food from and have it delivered to your space. And then just showing the flexibility of, in this particular case, this is a cashier-less setup, right? So there's only a kitchen display. And if you wanted to order from this particular stand, you would just use the QR code, place the order, get a text notification, and you'll then get another once your order is ready for pickup. And then kind of turning things into, this is an interesting one. So there's always been a bit of a struggle in the realm of hawking where you're trying to go from cashless and accepting credit cards. What we've introduced recently is virtual hawking. That allows a QR code to be placed on the back of the seat. That hawker has the ability to actually transact in a traditional way with credit card only, ring up the order and sell it. But if I'm sitting in the middle of a row, I'm going to go ahead and take my phone out, place an order through the QR code. That POS device is actually acting like a kitchen display as well. They're going to get a notification to deliver the items that I ordered from my phone. So it kind of takes out the friction of how are you going to address the credit card that's being used for an order when I'm sitting 6 or 7 seats in the middle of the row itself. And then last is kind of taking the POS literally and putting it into the client's hand or the fan's hands. This allows a guest to actually browse a store or market, place 2 items in their bag, scan them, and check out on their phone. And you can have somebody checking out at the door and making sure that there are only 2 items in the bag for security purpose, or at least checking for ID verification as well if there's alcohol in the cart. This is an extremely lightweight, light cost solution that we're seeing more and more attention to. So basically, this is the bring your own device into the venue.
And as we noted, actionable data and insights is really at the core of what enable businesses to use information to drive enhanced fan experience and enhanced revenue overall. And what we see here is really a full range of data pipelines that are available to teams and clients that we serve. And so certainly an open API, which allows teams to take that transactional data, use it within their own BI tools or use BI tools that we provide for them, and then couple that with additional data streams around promotion management, insights management, and those types of things, and really growing towards having a full view of the overall customer lifetime value of the fans and the guests that are coming into their building. And in this particular instance, just as an example, very relevant experience by a NFL building who asked to really use data to effectively program their property from a food, beverage, and retail concept using the information that's flowing through those pipelines to optimize sales revenue, optimize throughput, really that speed of service component, making sure that they had the right items at the right place at the right price to really serve the needs of their fans. And so looking at things like what items usually sell together naturally, so we create natural bundles within their assortment, or how do night games and concerts differ from other types of special events to make sure that they had the right product at a concert versus a NFL game. And then certainly looking at how, from a labor standpoint, they should allocate labor in their building, especially when you couple it with other information such as win-loss record or the score in the second quarter to make sure that they had the right amount of employees at certain types of stands to really speed transactions through their building. And so using all of that information from the data feeds that are available to them from SpotOn help them achieve their goals that they were looking for from a guest satisfaction standpoint. And then Connect Analytics is really the tool that's available that allows access to that data. So it's really anytime and within a preferred format or report style. And you can see an example here of some of the data that's available through the analytics suite that's supported by SpotOn.
So that really concludes what Andrew and I wanted to walk you through today. And, if there's the opportunity for you to join us on November 17th around 1:30 Eastern, we're actually going to be presenting on a panel with Chris Pierce from the New York Jets to kind of talk a little bit more about how fans are expecting and moving more and more into a touchless self-service model, and of course with more and more of the cashless options as well. But that's all I had for today, and well, you have a great day.